All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Elder Scrolls Online video. So today, I want to answer something that a few people have been asking me in my comments and everything. What add-ons do I use? And I figured over the years, I have accumulated a few add-ons for whatever I do, PvP, PvE, and or general quality of life stuff. So I guess I wanted to go over all of this, and yeah, I understand that console doesn't have any, but it is what it is. So just wanted to talk about all the add-ons I use and why it's important. So whether you're a beginner or someone who's just looking to find something that maybe help you in whatever you do, I'll just go over it. So to start off, like, what do I do in ESO? I basically do a little bit of everything from questing, PvE, PvP, and just like a lot of trials, dungeons, and stuff that'll help me. So yeah, I guess I would consider myself an endgame player, but like a lot of stuff is just whatever. So, I guess we'll just talk about all of them in order, I guess. So action duration reminder. This one is something that has been integrated into the base game more or less, but the reason why I use it is because let's say you look at my skill bar right now, right? And then there's something in the base game that also has it where it just counts down the little timer from like 10-second to cooldown. And it is actually very good to track your timers, especially if you're trying to improve your rotation or just get better at the build you're playing. So just having a timer to look at is always nice, and it is in the base game now, so it's like a setting, but I've just had it as it's just been there. Alpha gear is something that has also been added as like an armory thing in the game. So the NPC that could do, what is that dude that does the armory? Where you could basically set up your skills, champion points, and everything. There's an NPC for that as well, but the armory where you can set up everything. The difference is alpha gear is one, you can hot swap things on the fly, whereas in trials you can't use the armory person or anything that has a leaderboard. So having your skills set up per character and have everything just swap while you're not in combat is super helpful. The one downside about the add-on that the official thing that is in the game is you can't swap champion points like instantly. You would have to like manually take it out and all that stuff. And you can't swap attribute points, but for the most part I think it's fine. Like, you probably aren't swapping attributes on the regular, and champion points are more or less changed. Like, if you're really min-maxing you will, but for the most part you don't. Okay, so AP meter. If you're a PvPer, we all know that AP is our source of like rank and then level and then also currency. So AP meter is for Citadel, and basically it tells you like where you are. If you're looking at Citadel, for example, it's hard to show you from here, but like, let's say you are PvPing, right? And then whatever faction, whatever you're at, it'll tell you like where you're close to in terms of like a node or whatever, like a keep or something. And then like if you're in range, plus it keeps track of your rank, how close you are to leveling up, and how much AP you've gained in that session. So like if you log out or resets, but it's just nice to see. Arcadius Trade Tools, ATT as we call it, is basically the equivalent of Master Merchant, which is something if you are more or less selling, buying, tracking the price of goods and everything. So just to make sure everything is priced properly, and it also allows you to have more quality of life tools, especially when you're shopping. So allows you to search for things easier, and basically if you in chat type it, and then you can see what your purchases, sales, and everything are. So it's just overall nice to have, and I think it's one of those things where is if you are like flipping items, buying, selling, it's easier to track for the most part. And you just have to have a lot of different like variables and save data up for all this stuff as well, extra add-ons to track it. Asylum tracker. This is for the trial sanctum, asylum sanctorium, and is basically just gives you alerts for when things are happening. I feel like I've had this so long that I don't technically need it, or like there's an all-in-one add-on more or less these days, but it's just good to have him. And if you want to actually learn how to progress through certain trials, and it just gives you the alerts so you can learn and memorize them. Auto recharge recharges your weapons and gear with your soul gems and stuff, so it repairs it when it's low instead of having to manually do it, like charging it like that. Auto does it when you can set it at a percentage of auto recharge and repair. It's nice to have. Awesome guild store. Kind of connects to that ATT add-on, where you know how to search is basically you click the little buttons of what you want. This one basically allows for more advanced searching and everything, like actual like text search plus the more buttons. You can filter things and narrow your search filters down. So yeah, definitely a very good one to have, especially if you're trying to buy things in bulk or whatever, or just buy things in very particular that may not be as common. And yeah, it's good to search for particular things. Black Rose Prison Helper just helps you with Black Rose Prison, and same with like the other things. So like dungeons and trials are what I do a lot, and you know, just learning things over time. It's just good to have. Codes Combat Alerts. This one is probably one of the most used things that I've seen from people across the board on PC, and basically it's kind of like the deadly boss mods from WoW. It just tells you everything and when things are happening. It's very good for beginners all the way to veteran players. Just it's just one less thing to think about. Yeah, I think people use it for everything. I think it's just overall like a handy tool to have, and that's very good. It's up to date pretty regularly. Combat metrics. CMX. When you type CMX, this is what appears. If you do a parse and everything, you could basically, let me just load something from, when was this? Last year. Okay, so basically this is a last year parse, so irrelevant numbers. Basically, if you parse on a dummy or literally anything, it'll tell you like your uptimes on like your buffs, debuffs, your ability damage, how many times you've done it, hits and misses and all that stuff. So like help you improve your parsing. And I think it's overall just a useful thing to have to slowly improve and just see progress colorized essentially. So yeah, that's that. Combat metronome. Actually, I don't know why that's off, but basically when you're doing a thing or like you're doing a channel, it'll have a yellow bar that goes down as like telling you when to recast like at optimal points. So I guess it's based on, do you need it on certain characters or not? But yeah, I think it's just a nice handy tool to have. Crutch alerts. This is going into trials and dungeons as well. Basically it tells you what's happening, kind of like the other dungeons and trials combat alerts. And then crux counter. This one is Arcanist exclusive. Basically, you know how you get 3 crux, or basically 3 green Doritos, right? And then you do your big beam and do fat damage, so you know it automatically counts 1, 2, 3 for you. So the reason why I use it is because when you're doing like very fast-paced things, or when there's a lot of things on your screen, you can't necessarily see the 3 green Doritos around your character. So it's good to have a number like on the side where you can just track that number easier. So it's more of a visual thing. Like, yeah, we can all count to 3, but just to see it visually, and then once you see 3, then you hit your beam and whatever. So crux counter is just like Arcanist exclusive. Daily alchemy display leads. Well, actually, daily alchemy. You know your lazy writ crafter. Yeah, that does that, but for alchemy. Display leads. Display leads basically when you get a lead or something. Let me show you. For like antiquities or whatever. It'll show you like where to get everything. So it's basically a full list compiled by other people, and you can just basically get all this, which I did the archive earlier, and I probably should actually go scribe these. But yeah, if you do display leads, basically you could look up anything that's been already found. This is compiled by other players, and then you could just, let's say you're looking for, I don't know, something that we have here. It'll tell you where to get it and what zone. So very handy to have if you're like a completionist or like collecting achievements and everything. Dogobun's lazy set crafter. So you know your daily writs, like your blacksmithing, crafting, jeweler, and all that stuff, the things you do every day. Yeah, this auto does it for you, and you pick up the quest, go to a station, and it'll auto craft it for you. So it's like, instead of clicking like 30 buttons, you're only clicking like 6. Actually really nice. And then kind of you have to have a separate one for alchemy. I don't know why that's different, but apparently it is. So either way, Elm's markers. This one is for more like trials. It helps visualize things easier. So just you put markers on the ground. So like, let's say the boss is at the north, right? And you want to make sure everyone goes to north, or everyone has to go to rotate or something. Just like mechanics in trials. So it helps you like visualize where you are and puts markers on the ground. So everything is super handy for learning. Essential housing tools. Admittedly, I don't use this as much, but I did when I'm like decorating houses. So like, you know, all this stuff that was here mostly by default. I don't think there's a grid for you guys, but it helps you like place things in your house pixel perfect, essentially, for all the people who are like, I wouldn't say like OCD, but just like having things neat and organized, kind of that. So like you see how all this stuff is placed down and everything. That's kind of what I used a little bit for decorating things, but do you need it? No, I think the default decorator like system, whatever they have, is just nice in general. Essential housing community. I think these are the same add-on. Okay. So grid list. If you guys have ever played like Skyrim or any other Elder Scrolls game, you know that your inventory looks like this by default, right? So if you're used to that, that's cool. Grid list, what this does is allows you to see everything all in one. So it's just like easier to visualize. But I get it. Some people have played other Elder Scrolls games and your inventory looks like this. So if you're used to it, it is what it is. Cool. But I just like to see everything, and then you can filter by like all the tabs and everything. So that's that. It's just neat. Hodor reflexes. A very endgame trial thing for people. It basically allows you to do everything. So if you're like a tank or a support, it allows you to see ultimate, so you don't overcast over other people. It puts a live DPS tracker. It does a lot of things, just markers, health bars, tabs, and everything. So if you're taking trials or something seriously, it's definitely something worth getting. Housing hub. It's just like, to be honest, I don't even really remember what this does, but obviously it's housing something. Joe group. So this is a UI thing. Let me see if I can show you on add-on Joe group. This is what it looks like. So you know by default your health bars are at the bottom and your party bars look a little bit different. So this one is unique because it allows you to colorize everything. And for example, the way I set it is like tanks are blue, healers are green, and DPS are red. And then you can change like the UI to size, simplify it, and you could see other people's health bars, numbers, if you're wearing food, what kind of food they're wearing. So it's just like an advanced version of like a UI for your party group. So there's a lot of different add-ons for that, but I think it's just the one that works for me and I like it. Loot log. This one is like you can see the loot that you pick up and other people in chat. So it also has a request button. So if you're collecting sticker book with your friends and it's like, oh, and your friends are like, oh, I'm too lazy to just link everything and just be like, hey, can I get that? So it can be used for good and bad, and sometimes it's annoying when people are just like, hey, can I get that? But you didn't even link it. So I think it's good to use it responsibly, as in like don't go bothering other people. Usually the rule of loot is if someone links something in chat that's just generally like, hey, I'm giving this away if anyone needs it, don't just like whisper people, be like, hey, can I get this? But they didn't even link it. You never know if they need it, so just be respectful for this add-on. Lore books is it shows all the lore books on the map, so for all of you leveling up your mages guild or just collecting achievements and everything, just get your lore books and they're all on the map, so it helps you pinpoint and find it easily. Lost treasures, same with treasure maps, kind of like lore books, but for treasure maps it puts an X on the map. LUI extended, this is probably one of the biggest UI things that I have. So you know how by default your health, mana, and magic stamina are just by default in a different location? This does a lot, actually. This add-on is a huge UI for everything, whether it's like PvE, PvP, everything. Just like, it's a whole UI add-on for basically everything you do. And I think that's a very simple way to put it. So I think if you're looking for a cleaner UI or something that stays on your screen permanently, if you want it to, it's definitely good to have. But there's a lot of options for that one, so it's definitely a big one. Map pins. Map pins. Filters. When you have map pins, it basically adds more things around here. So it's just like more things to find. So if you want to particularly look for achievements or something in particular, it adds extra stuff. And it just helps you pinpoint achievement tracking a little bit easier. So, yeah, it's a good one. Never gonna pick you up as a sigil blocker. I use this for one purpose, and it's going for the trifecta in Black Rose Prison. So that one is just like doing everything without picking up a sigil, and sometimes I've seen people pick it up accidentally. So this prevents you from picking it up accidentally, and that's about it. Noob filter, it's a death tracker. That's it. OD support icons is basically, if you're in a group, sometimes you'll see like a marker above someone's head, and it's like, you know, some random picture that's not even Elder Scrolls related or not even related in general. Yeah, that's what the add-on is. And then it's supposed to be, this was added before, you know, they added this into the official game, these markers. The OD support icons was what they added or people played with before it. So now it's still used, but is it necessary? Not really. It's just extra markers and stuff. P-chat. So for your chat, it just adds more options, allows you to, like, if you disconnect, you know how your chat gets deleted. It could save it. It could click links and everything. So if someone like links a YouTube video or whatever in chat, you can just click it there. Change colors and everything. So it's just like a UI, but for your chat, and I think it's super nice to have, actually. So it's one of those things. Let's see. Achievement tracker is what you do. Like, this one changed over the few years, and they had different names and then all this stuff. Basically, for your dungeons and trials, it tracks everything. And so if you do things on like veteran, you can get that. And then if you're doing like hard mode, speedrun, no death, trifectas, it allows you to basically track these and then the extra challenges and stuff. So I think this is just a very handy tool. Instead of having your own spreadsheet, this is literally one click and it's just there. So quality of life. Q cells, dread cell, reef helper. It's kind of like the other things we talked about before, like all these other codes combat alerts, but for dread sale. And yeah, that's about it. Same with Rockgrove. I understand that all of these are like different add-ons, but I wish, like, you know how these two are two different add-ons? I wish this dude was just put them all in one. It would just be a lot easier. Ratificator, if you're in like a dungeon or trial, and then it allows you to keep track of time. So if you're going for like a trifecta or a speed run and you have to complete something within a certain time, it allows you to basically track your time in there, and I think that's very helpful to have. So you don't have to look at your clock or anything. It's just in-game timer. Raid notifier. This is just, it's kind of like Code's combat alerts. Well, it is, but it's like on the older side of it. Basically, it gives you notifications for things that are happening during trials and stuff, and dungeons sometimes. So yeah, it's just nice to have a lot of them. Roomba. It allows you to organize your inventory, your guild bank, and all that stuff, your bank, and just like auto stacks it with one button instead of depositing and withdrawing things one at a time. It just auto stacks everything. So quality of life, easy, saves so much time. Good to have, especially if you are in any leadership positions in your guild where it's like, hey, I am in charge of cleaning the guild bank or whatever you do actually. So yeah, whatever, just keeps things organized. Nice. Shrendar. This is actually one that I use a lot, and it's not something that you just install and it's like, oh, ready to go. So when you have Shrendar, what it looks like is this. So it allows a lot of different customizations, and you know how you are buff tracking, keeping track of buffs, debuffs, dot timers, healing. Basically, this tracks all of this. Like you can put it on your screen. You could literally see everything. So this is one of the add-ons where you have to do a lot of customization, and you basically see where everything is. So it is something that you have to put in a little bit of effort and work into customizing, but it is very good to see like literally every buff that's happening, and you make sure you have like 100% uptime for everything. So I would say it's more on the higher end of like, hey, I take things seriously in terms of dungeons and trials and how to play my character. But it is very helpful. I think this one is just, you should use it if you decide to do anything seriously. Sanity's Edge Assist. Once again, another trial add-on that I wish was all in one, but it's kind of like all those other helpers that help you, just give you notifications and everything. So yeah. Superstar. This is actually one of the most useful add-ons. So whenever you're asking another content creator, whether it's a streamer or YouTuber, what their build is, instead of asking them a million questions, be like, hey, do you have a superstar? And then this will show you literally everything. So like, hey, this is what gear I currently have equipped. Red, blue, green would be like light armor, medium, heavy, all the stuff, your traits, enchants, champion points, your skills that I have on, foods, buffs, and everything, attributes, champion points, PvP rank, like whatever you have. Basically, you send this, and it saves about like 50 questions of, hey, can I use your build or something? So yeah, it's an all-in-one picture. Just look at it and be like, okay, cool. Instead of being like, hey, so what gear do you have? So what champion points, what traits, and all that stuff. Yeah, it's very nice. And I use it also because I like to keep track of what I have on, and especially when you share builds with your friends and see what's good and everything. The next thing we have is Untaunted. So this one is a tank specific add-on. So you know how tanks have to taunt things, right? Basically this puts a bar and it tells you when taunt is about to fall off, so you can, and how many things you have taunted. So it's kind of like an extra thing for tanks that you have to make sure everything is permanently taunted, and it's just really good. Skill point finder. Let me just show you. This tells you your skill points and where everything is on all your characters. And like, did you get the thing from the dungeon? Then it tells you 1 out of 1 if you've collected it. Every single zone that you've gone to, you get all the sky shards and everything. This is just so handy, just in case you're just like, oh, what have I missed? What dungeon have I not done? So this basically, it tracks all of your characters and tells you which skill points you're missing from like wherever. So yeah, this is super helpful, and hopefully if you're like unorganized with everything, it'll help. Votan's Fisherman. Have you ever done fishing? Do you want to go get those achievements? It helps you track where all the fish are, which kind of like bait to use in which area, as well as like different things to keep track of your fishing. So it's nice to have. And Writworthy is, I think it connects to the Writ Crafter, so it allows you to basically do your writs. Like if you did Writworthy, and if you had any master writs or something, like for example this thingy right here, basically auto crafts it for you, and you just turn it in, so you can do like 101 instead of one at a time. It just bolt crafts them and then you turn them in. Very handy. So that's all the add-ons that I used. I know that's a lot of them, and then all of these are like the lib libraries and all that stuff. But like, yeah, these are all the add-ons I use for various things. A lot of them are Dungeons and Trials, admittedly, but I think that they're just super handy in general. So hopefully if you never had them and you're looking for new ones, these are it. So with that said, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you come back. I've been playing ESO since the beta in 2014, and yeah, I know a lot of random things about this game, and I just wanted to incorporate ESO more onto the channel as well. If you want to see every single chapter from the very beginning of the game till now, you can actually watch all of those. I have over 2,000 ESO videos on the channel, and yeah, hopefully if you just want to enjoy a story, it's there. But with that said, I'm out for today. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.